Marcy Lundy, and on today's Cult of Kindness podcast, I am so happy to welcome Roland Klimant. Did I
That's
get it right?
correct. Yeah, that's the pronunciation. Yeah.
Wonderful. Roland is from the Czech Republic and is doing amazing humanitarian work. Roland, first, thank you for being on. And if you could tell the Cult of Kindness audience a bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Marcy, firstly.
Yeah.
So, like you said, I come from the Czech Republic, and currently I'm situated in Germany, working my seasonal job for like half a year, so that I'm able to travel for the rest of the year and to pursue my passion for traveling that pretty much started in 2018 when I made like a big around the world trip for 2 years, where I kind of found my passion for traveling, and now I'm pretty much trying to turn this into something bigger, share the stories from different countries,
Yeah.
mainly focused on the, let me say, misunderstood and less developed parts of the world,
Mm.
communities that are not very often shown in the mainstream media
Yeah.
and very often connected with many prejudices, in my opinion. So I'm trying to show pretty much the human side of these communities and get rid of the prejudices. That would be like one of the goals. And yeah, show the world uh, what the world looks like in less developed parts as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, that's a gift, first of all, to be able to do that. I know there's so many people who would want to be a humanitarian on a larger level, and you actually have the opportunity to do that. What ignited that inside of you?
Well, it pretty much started on this big trip for 2 years in 2018
Mm-hmm.
where I, for the very first time, like saw the kindness in the world from different
Mm-hmm.
people as well. It wasn't just pretty much taking, it was also giving back. And that's where I kind of felt the need to give back in some way as well. So that was the main reason why I started all this. And also, I think that these communities tend not to be shown that much online as well. So they are very often forgotten. That's what many people in these communities have told me as well throughout the time since I started this job on my YouTube channel. So that's pretty much how it all started.
Yeah, you mentioned the YouTube channel. That's such a great way to show everyone. I think everyone gets lost in their little bubble, their little part of the world, and the world is so much larger than what we're dealing with in our little bubble. First, what is your YouTube channel so that people can find you?
So I'm pretty much sticking with my name. So
Okay.
Roland Klimant, that's the name of my YouTube channel. I
Yeah.
didn't want to call it like Travel with Roland, like a lot of people do in the
Yeah.
beginning to get the attention. I wanted to be true to my name from the very
Mhm.
beginning.
Good.
So that's how you guys can find me
That's so
on
good.
the on YouTube.
Yeah. So you went into this with a wonderful state of mind. What have you observed? What has touched your heart as you go into these communities that are not getting any attention?
Well, especially it's very often like these communities, one might say they don't have much to offer. Like when we look at the materialism, but I have experienced many times like people in different slums inviting me for lunch, for
Oh,
dinner, trying to show me their neighborhood. So you can really understand that there is so much more to give than just like things. So
yeah,
that's what really surprised me when I started entering different communities around the world in less developed parts of the world.
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a very positive surprise for me as well, that these people actually tend to give back more or even more than people who have the resources.
It's so true. Yeah. In day-to-day life, you often observe people who have the most are willing to do the least, and people who have hardly anything are so selfless. Um, when
Yeah.
you are in these communities, do you find yourself taking back pearls of wisdom that they've given you?
Very often, yes, because actually when you are in these communities, you can really see how little you need
Yeah.
to live, and because they very often live in very small houses with their whole families. It's very often like 10 persons in
Mm.
2 rooms on like 25 up to 30 square meters. So when you see that they are capable of leading this life, then one might think that there is not much to complain about while having a big house in our developed Western world. So
Sure.
just being happy with little, that's the lesson number one for me, for sure.
Absolutely. So, where have your travels taken you?
So since I started this YouTube channel, I pretty much started it in Asia. That's where I started making my first videos in poorer areas. It
Okay.
all started in Bangladesh, and I have made a few videos on my recent trip in Africa as well,
Okay.
especially in Kenya, Ethiopia, and then there are going some more videos live from Senegal as well in the coming months.
Okay. When you first enter their communities, are they trying to figure out what you're doing or why you're doing it, or are they immediately like friend?
Well, of course, there's like people, you get the attention while walking through their area as a white person,
Yeah.
especially in Africa, with a camera
Yeah.
and recording something.
Right.
So, and of course, there are people who look at you on in a bad way. They don't want to be recorded or anything. And then on the other hand, you got people who automatically become your friends,
Mm,
wanna hear your story, wanna know why you are there.
yeah,
Very often they wanna know also the reason why you are recording this video.
for
Because of
sure.
course that's, I think, the question number one that they should ask, hey, what is this guy doing here right now? What's the purpose of the video right now?
Yeah, yeah,
So, but most of the time, like I encounter them in a friendly way, and they approach me in a friendly way as well.
that's good. I know social media is such a wonderful tool to bring other eyes into these worlds. When you begin to document, do you share with the people that you're around that you're going to show this on a larger level? And if so, what is their response to that?
Well, unfortunately, I have experienced very often like negative comments under the videos,
Mm,
especially from people from these countries. Like, I think that they have taken the video too personally, pretty much like me trying to attack their country in a bad way and maybe not seeing the purpose, the idea of the videos that I'm very often mentioning also, especially at the end, why I'm
right.
actually doing it. And surprisingly, there was like a lot of negative comments under the video from the biggest slum from Kenya, where I was trying to raise money actually for a library in this slum. And
My
still
goodness.
you get the hate. So, but on the other hand, of course, there are a lot of people with a positive response, which makes me happy and which drives me forward as well, what keeps me
Sure.
doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And but it's a good lesson for one as a person as well, just not taking anything personally, is
True.
probably one of the greatest lessons that I've taken from all this. Of course, I mean, it made me sad at the beginning when you read comments like this, and when you know how
Mm,
much energy, how much time you have put into it,
yeah.
and what the idea is. And of course, I'm trying to learn from these comments as well. Like, hey, is there anything really about it? How can I improve the next video? How should
Mhm.
I approach it the next time? Maybe they might be right in some way. So I'm
Mm,
always trying to learn from every feedback pretty much,
that's good.
even if it's negative in my
Yeah,
eyes at that point.
sure. Yeah, I was just thinking, I wonder if sometimes they feel that way because they don't want their country viewed a certain way. But it's good if you keep your eye on what is most important to you because the mission is so important.
Yeah, because I think very often a lot of people are showing just the good side of countries.
Yeah.
And I think that's how every country wants to be presented.
Sure.
But that's why, let me say, the less developed parts tend to be overlooked.
Yes.
And like you mentioned, like YouTube and social media in general, they are all a great tool to broadcast the reality of the
Yeah.
places.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, are you on TikTok? I know that videos like that can really um, generate a lot of views and concern and perhaps inspire other people to do what you're doing.
Well, I'm still not in TikTok yet, but I'm on Instagram and I have posted a
I'm
couple of
not,
reels. Yeah, I'm like
yeah.
I'm trying to go deeper into the story through the YouTube
Hmm.
videos and also record some interviews so that people can really hear the stories of people living in these communities.
Yeah.
And of course, I know that today's society tend to watch the short form content
Yes.
and everyone is trying to catch the attention of the audience, that's for sure. And very often
Hmm.
you got just 1 minute to do so. So YouTube stories mm, tend not to be watched that often anymore, as it used
I
to be maybe
know.
5 or 10 years ago, which is a shame because I think there are many great documentaries on YouTube in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
But of course, they go for 30 minutes plus. And yeah, I mean, it's a long time. It is.
Yeah. No, no, I understand. It's the reason why I'm not on TikTok because some stories, most stories need to be told in more than 20 or 30 seconds. So I always think that people who are truly interested still find these stories in places like Instagram and YouTube. Um, if you could give me a couple of examples where you could not only feel but see that you were helping others in a big way.
So, like, the idea of many videos is just about increasing awareness of these
Mm.
places. Very often, like for example, the video from Ethiopia that is called The Side of Ethiopia that the media won't show you. So
Mm.
I was in touch with one of the NGOs, like trying to or helping people right there. And we talked a lot about the video, about how to do the video, about how to show also the positive side, about showing that there is hope as well. So
Okay.
I got a very positive feedback from this person that I was working with, from this
Okay.
NGO. So that really mattered to me. And I'm also trying to do some presentations like about my travels. But
Okay.
like the one that really went deep into my heart was the one that I made for kids with mental health problems. That's the work of my mom, where she works. She works with mental ill children in the Czech
Oh,
Republic. And she asked me if I can make a presentation for them, and I was like, yeah, well, let's do it and see what happens. And like getting all these questions and the feedback afterwards, that was really the most rewarding feedback from everything that I have created so far. When I look at the
Oh,
videos, the presentations, even the podcasts that I've made so far, that was the most rewarding feeling. Like seeing the eyes attached to the screen and seeing that they can dream as well, that it's possible because they might not have heard about anything like that before, about traveling on a big scale before. So I I had the feeling that it has opened eyes of many kids in that room, in that moment. And yeah, they started asking me about the financial stuff and everything, about how to organize a trip like this. So
wow.
very rewarding feeling, which gave me the idea maybe to do it in a on a bigger scale in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Presentations like this, even online. So
Yes. Yeah, you can reach so many online for sure. Uh, do you stay in touch with a lot of the people that you come across?
I'm still in touch with people that I worked with in these countries that helped me create many projects, many different videos. And like networking is an important thing as well when you want to create videos from these countries. So yeah, I'm still in touch with some people, but it's not many of them.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Uh, what sort of fears and hurdles have you come across while on these travels?
Well, first of all, before I like started creating all these videos, the fear of being judged is pretty much the fear number one for me. I
Mm-hmm.
remember until now the day when I took the camera in my hand for the first time and was recording myself. I always saw like the audience sitting behind the screen, judging every word I'm saying and everything, what the feedback is going to be, especially from my closest friends or even from my family.
Sure.
And but really believe that like going through the fear is pretty much the only way to at least partially get rid of it. Like
True.
I cannot say that I got rid of it like completely. It's still there. When I record something, I'm still thinking, hey, what is the feedback going to be?
Mm.
What is the audience going to say?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you get the comments, but of course, like I said before, you can either let it go deep into you and let it stop you, or you just take it as a lesson, try to learn from it and push through it. So that's what I'm telling myself every time whenever I read a
Yeah.
negative comment. That's it's a funny thing. Even if you are trying to help people, you still get the hate. So
It's true. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like people look for things to go and write negative comments because it's like you could have been doing something better with your time than this, you
yeah,
know?
of course.
Yeah. So, yeah. And also, I always feel like it means you're doing something right. If you're doing something right, but if you're rubbing people the wrong way, you know, you're less likely, sadly, to get pats on the back when you're doing the right thing. You're more likely to receive people turning their nose up and things like that. So, in a weird way, it lets you know you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, that's pretty much the perfect point. As long as I'm thinking of the work that I'm doing, that it's a good thing,
Yeah.
that that what drives me forward.
Yeah.
That's more important to me right now than the opinions of others. I'm
Ex-
still in the transformation process. Of course, I think it's still a long way to go
mhm.
because that's how many people in my country were raised,
Mm.
that we should really care about other people's opinions
Oh, wow.
instead of caring of our own. So
Wow.
yeah.
Goodness. So that's hard, first of all. Is that something that you hope to completely overcome or just be aware that was how you were raised, but that doesn't have to be the path that you stay on?
Well, like overcoming this fear or this hurdle, that would be one of the greatest successes in my life for sure. But I think it's so deep in there in my mind. So I don't think I will ever be able of getting rid of it completely. I think it will still be there. It's
Yeah,
getting less and less with every step on this journey, for sure, with every comment, with every feedback, even if it's positive or negative.
yeah, yeah.
And I think like realizing that it's there is the starting point.
That's true. That's true. Uh,
And yeah,
how does your family feel about what you do?
well, right now I think they have accepted what I'm doing right now. It was kind of hard in the beginning because, of course, like they have imagined a different life for me, for
Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
because that's how we were raised. That's pretty much the pattern that a lot of people follow in many countries, like finish the high school, finish the university, start a family, build a house, work for the next 40 years, and then you can happily retire.
right.
And once you step out, then you are considered to be weird in many people's eyes.
Yes.
And different is not very welcomed. So in many people's eyes as well. So it was a big hurdle for me as well because I felt that they don't like what I'm doing, but I
Yeah,
think they have accepted already the journey that I decided for.
that's good. And that's so true. Personally speaking, I feel like people who step out and are looked at as weird are the ones who make the world go round because sure, you're contributing to society when you buy a house, have children, but there's larger work to be done. And those of us that don't take that route, the path for us seems clear, uh, doing things for humanity. So I completely understand where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, that there are like many ways how you can contribute, and I'm not saying starting a family is a bad thing. I think like raising children, you are contributing to the world as well, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I have just chosen a different path that I'm happy for already. It
Yes.
felt
Yeah.
kind of uncomfortable in the beginning, of course,
Mhm.
because most of my friends are living a different life. So yeah.
Yeah. We speak the same language. Oh, as we've been talking, my wheels have been turning just in regards to organizations I personally know that I want to connect you to that I really feel like could just catapult what you're doing forward in a lot of different ways. Uh, what do you see yourself doing, let's say, over the next 5 years as your travels continue?
Well, like I still have this big dream of mine in front of me. For example, building an orphanage or a library in one of these disadvantaged parts, that
Mm.
would be a dream come true.
Yeah.
And I know that it's possible because there are some people doing it.
Mhm.
And then once you see that something is possible, then there is no obstacle on the way to stop you actually, because you can
Yeah.
really see in reality, hey, I can get there. So that would be kind of a dream of mine for the next, like you are saying, 5 years to do this on a bigger scale. because like I mentioned, we tried to raise some money for the library in the slum, in the biggest slum in
Mm,
Africa.
wow.
It wasn't nearly enough. I just wanted to see how far the video can go.
Yeah,
And we raised like $120, which is not much for
yeah,
sure. I mean, not nearly enough to build a library in the slum, but I have bought some school supplies for a smaller school in the slum. And
yeah.
when I saw how many school supplies you can buy for just $120, I was really surprised. And also like the feeling that I got after it, after giving these school supplies to the kids, was really like the reason. That's where I understood, hey, I'm on the right way, and that's what I want to do in the future as well.
Oh, that's
So
so great.
it was the one of the biggest rewards for sure on this journey.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a particular focus? Like, is it that you largely want to help children, elderly, or it's whoever you can reach?
Well, I really think like from what I've seen, education is the key in many countries.
Yeah,
And like the lack of education is one of the biggest problems in many countries, especially in Africa, from what I saw on the last trip.
yeah.
So that's why I think I will be more focusing on children, especially on schools, libraries, because that's where the future is, in my opinion. That's where it starts, and it made me really sad when I saw where these kids are learning or that they don't even have a library. Like they
Yeah.
were telling me stories that these kids are learning with a candle that is fired up, reading a book that doesn't have all the pages.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, and a library like this
Mm.
could make a huge difference. Like there might be a future genius within the community that could change lives of other people in the future as well. So,
So true.
yeah, like if you have a library for hundreds of kids, they can see that they have a future ahead of them as well. Or at least it helps them to dream more, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Are you familiar with Mission 44?
Mission 44, never heard of. No.
Okay. Um, Lewis Hamilton created it, and I wanted to do work with them, but they specifically focus overseas, so wasn't fortunate enough to be able to work with them. But I think that what you're doing and what Mission 44 is about in regards to helping children with education, um, I definitely hope that you're able to connect with them because that would be beautiful. And you're right, education's everything. For the elders, it may unfortunately be too late, with the exception of being able to help them with how they're currently living. But with the children, like you said, it's so horrible to think they don't have all of the pages in their books. And uh, it's something that could so easily be fixed.
Yeah, well, like I mean I'm definitely gonna have a look into Mission 44
Yeah,
because of course like uh getting connections with organizations like this is one of the goals as well because then you can really enter some parts of the world that you wouldn't be able to on your own.
yeah, exactly.
And then when I see guys in YouTube videos collaborating with UNICEF, that makes then the journey much easier for sure, because you can really enter parts of the world that you wouldn't even think of. So,
That's so true. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, well, I love what you're doing, and however I can help from Denver, Colorado, I will, because I think it's so beautiful and it's so important. Um, if people would like to reach out to you either with donations or sending supplies, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, you already are helping pretty much with this podcast because I think it also like sharing is an important part of this whole story as well.
Yeah.
Pretty much for anyone if you wanna take it higher. Yeah.
Well, Roland, I definitely will stay in touch with you, and I would like to have you on in the next season of Cult of Kindness because what you're doing, I just hope that it grows, and we need to get the word out as much as possible because so many people want to help. They're not sure how, but someone like you who's doing the work, if they're able to help you, then it's just as fulfilling.
Yeah, well, Marcio, I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you very much. And I believe we'll talk to each other very, very soon.
Yes, yes. All right, all. Again, thank you so much, Roland, for being on. And
Thank you.
take care. Thank you.